Okay, tell us a bit about your mother and where she was raised, and give us a bit about that.
Mother was an only child, and her mother died when she was 3 years old. So she was reared by an old maid aunt called Aunt Eo Rantha Sims. She was the daughter of Raphael Sims, and my mother's aunt, and they lived in the house with Aunt Augusta, who was my great aunt, and mother's aunt, and my great aunt. Aunt Augusta Sims was a spinster, and she devoted her life to rearing the children of her two brothers. Both of them lost their wives, and there was a total of 9 children, and she reared them all in the same home as my mother was reared. And they were cousins, reared together. And this is an incident that I recall my mother lamenting and agonizing over what had happened and what to do about it. Now, first of all, it's important to know the age of my mother. She was not quite this old, and a little bit older than this. So you see the two. She was more or less between those two when this happened.
But her mother died when she was 3, so
3.
When did she go to live with?
From the time she was 3.
Okay.
She lived with...
until what age?
But she would spend her winters with the great aunt and the grandmother's home. The summers, Aunt Eo would take her to Mexico City, where she would be with her father, who was an engineer there, building the railroads from the United States to Mexico and Mexico to Panama. So she would live in Mexico City in the summer, and but this incident was while she was living at Aunt Augusta's house in Morningside Park, near where we grew up, and a very old house there.
It's in Memphis.
In Memphis,
yeah.
And it was a house, probably the first house in Morningside Park, and big house with a lot of family living there. And among the cousins was one named Fanita. And Fanita was a controlling older girl that dictated to all the younger children, and was not actually as kind as she should have been, or as thoughtful, because she thought it was interesting and playfully fun to intercept the mail of the letters that were coming to my Aunt Augusta, who was rearing her. And Aunt Augusta had been dating this young engineer from South America, who was stationed in South America. And Aunt Augusta seemed to be very much in love with him, and he with her. And Fanita got those letters as they came from the from the box, opened them, and gleefully read them to all the children like it was a big, love story, that she was reading all these love letters. But she did not know how to close them back up, the envelopes, and put them back in the box where it wouldn't be observed that she'd opened them. So she destroyed them. She destroyed those love letters. So for years, Aunt Augusta thought the man had forgotten her, that he had been working in South America and had forgotten her. But Mother remembered. He said in the letters, "I will come and help you rear all of those children. If you will marry me, I will come back and help you to rear them." And yet those letters were destroyed. So Aunt Augusta had a broken heart, and I'm sure the young man did as well. And my mother's dilemma was, Aunt Augusta was on her deathbed, and she came to me and said, "Do you think I should go to her and tell her that this man loved her right to the very last and wanted to marry her?" And on thinking about it, I was in my teens at this time, and I thought no, because she would still see Fanita, the niece that she had reared, and I wouldn't want her to have bitter feelings against Fanita at this late stage, and 30 years, 40 years hence. because Manita had had a very bitter and lonely life herself, with lots of difficulties. So I thought there was no point in separating, putting a wall between the two. And Mother agreed with me, so she did not tell Aunt Augusta, because I said Aunt Augusta would know as soon as she was in heaven, which she would surely be, that she would know that this young man loved her. And he probably preceded her up there, because she lived to a ripe old age. So she was nearly 90, so I think he probably was there first. All right.